With the recent Frankie Montas injury news, there is one free agency move that makes so much sense for the New York Mets right now. Let's get into it. All right, Mets fans, we are talking starting pitching. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the True Mets Talk podcast. Frankie Montas has officially been shut down for the next 6 to 8 weeks as he recovers from a high grade lat strain. And there's one familiar face that is still on the open market, waiting to see where he's going to be pitching in 2025. That the Mets should definitely be in the market for re signing. And we'll get into that here in just a second. I'm pretty sure you all know who this name is. But before we get into it, smash those thumbs up buttons. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. Just about 15 subscribers away from 2,300 on the channel. I thoroughly appreciate the support. And as always, let's have a discussion in the comments section about this particular name. And that is Jose Quintana, a New York Met for the past couple of seasons, just finished up his second year of the 2 year deal that he originally signed with the New York Mets. And he had a fantastic campaign all across the board for the New York Mets in their deep playoff run in 2024. Here are the numbers outlook for Jose Quintana over the past couple of seasons. Clearly, a lot more sample size to assess and judge in 2024 for Jose Quintana than his 2023 campaign, where he only posted about 75 and two-thirds innings. And you compare that production with the 170 and one-thirds innings pitched in the 2024 season with a 3.75 ERA, 1.25 in the walks and hits per innings pitched category, and 31 games started collectively for Jose Quintana last season. He did struggle mightily. He got off to an okay start. I will preface this by saying he got off to an okay start in March and April, but in May he had an abysmal time. It was the worst month of the season objectively for Jose Quintana. And guess what? He turned it around in the middle months, especially in July, and he was the best Mets pitcher down the stretch of September. In the month of September, he went on an absolute heater and he produced solid production in the postseason for the New York Mets in his starts against the Brewers and Phillies, respectively. He had a lackadaisical start against the Dodgers, but again, that lineup won the World Series for a reason. And there's nothing else that we could have asked for from Jose Quintana last season. And now with this Frankie Montas injury, it is time to bring him back. I know that there's a lot of discussions elsewhere surrounding other names. You know, there's Jordan Montgomery that you can trade for as a back-end starter if you want to get rid of Starling Marte and that contract, as we've been talking about the Starling Marte trade situation. If you missed that video, I discussed it yesterday on the channel. I'll link it down in the description down below for you all to view after this video. There's Dylan Cease and the ongoing conversations with the Padres. Are the Mets going to make a move for a top-line starter? I don't think it's going to happen. Why not bring Jose Quintana back on a cheap one-year deal? You don't have to invest given his age past the 1 year. He's going to be a relatively low-cost player, I would have to imagine, even given, decent numbers and decent production in 2024. You're talking about anywhere from maybe $9 to $12 million for Jose Quintana. I think that is worth the price to pay, even with the additional penalties on top with the luxury tax situation for the Mets. Because at this point, yes, the Mets can always go internal. They can go ahead and rely more heavily on a Clay Holmes, Paul Blackburn, and maybe backfilling the rotation in the sixth starter with Tyler McGill, a familiar face, or Griffin Canning. But why not bring back the proven veteran who showed up for you at the most important time when you needed to win ball games consistently in September? And he also produced lights out in a crucial game, by the way, in the wild card series. That was a awesome performance in Milwaukee from Jose Quintana. Why not bring that production back, at least at the very minimum, as a stopgap option until Frankie Montas is able to fully rehab and recover from that lat strain? Now, with the Frankie Montas injury, it's a wild card how he's going to recover and what the timetable actually is going to be. So this makes the most sense, and you can never have too much pitching in your organization. And couple that with the fact that Tyler McGill still has an option associated with his contract. It is no harm, no foul for Tyler McGill to start off in AAA to start the season. So this would be my ideal rotation, the most realistic rotation going into opening day for the New York Mets if they're going to deploy the six-man rotation, which I think that they're still going to stick to given the presence of Kodai Senga somewhere at the top. Now, it's a separate discussion whether you consider Sean Manaea or Kodai Senga the ace. That simply doesn't matter at this point. We need to be worried about the back end. Jose Quintana, reliable veteran. He pitches to contact. No, he's not going to blow any hitters away. You can see here with the strikeout percentage over the past two seasons on the right-handed side of your screen, 18.8%, and the strikeout rate for the past two seasons out of Jose Quintana, that's below league average, but he induces a very good ground ball rate. He induces weak contact to produce those ground balls, a lot of double plays. And I'll get to that here in just a second, but you see the hard hit rate going up a little bit, but that's going to be expected going from 75 innings pitched up to 170. Some of those numbers are going to increase, and he doesn't really walk that many hitters. He's right around league average as well. This makes so much sense. He's predominantly a four-pitch pitcher, a lot of sinking fastball usage from the left-handed side, just around 90 to 91 miles per hour. He has a changeup, he has a curveball that he relies on as his secondary pitch. And he gets the big time outs when he needs to, even when he gets into jams. And this is what we see on this graphic right here. And what contributed to a lot of his success in 2024, there were a lot of points in the season, even when he was producing pretty decent numbers across the board, like I just said in July and September, where he did get into some trouble, but he did a fantastic job in terms of working around trouble in 2024. These are the production values from opposing hitters with runners on against Jose Quintana last season. Runners in scoring position, he held the opposition to a 177 batting average with a 532 OPS. Men on first, second, third, first and second, first and third, the production value from opposing hitters were just astronomically low. So that means that Jose Quintana was doing a good job stranding runners when he did get into those jams. And again, this guy's a veteran. He knows to pitch, how to pitch in those situations. Excuse me. It makes sense to bring him on a cheap deal. I'm going to say it for the fourth time probably in this episode right here. I'm making the strong push because I still have doubts that David Stearns and the Mets are going to trade for the top line starter that everybody wants. Is that realistic? Is that not realistic? Only David Stearns and the Mets front office knows. I'm going to say that it's not, and that this is the most logical answer in lieu of this Frankie Montas injury, which we will keep monitoring because, as we mentioned in our live stream yesterday with myself and Rob, if there's one more injury that happens in this rotation, yes, the depth still is capable of backfilling Frankie Montas' spot internally, but if there's one more injury that happens, then you're getting into some pretty troubling waters if you're David Stearns relying on the internal options. So let me know, Mets fans, what do you think about this potential signing, bringing back the familiar face who was a huge part of this rotation in such a magical 2024 New York Mets run? Jose Quintana, a one-year deal would definitely do it. Let me know in the comments section. Keep on hitting those thumbs up buttons if you enjoy these conversations, if you enjoy these discussions, and most importantly, please do subscribe to the channel, about 15 subscribers away from 2,300. I thoroughly appreciate the support. Let's go Mets. Let's see what the corresponding move is, if there is one, for this rotation now that Montas is shut down for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Let's go Mets. Peace.